Most pitchers think that velocity comes from throwing more or lifting heavier. The truth is, without building your foundation the right way, you're just adding stress, not speed. That's why I created the pitcher's pyramid, the blueprint that turns overlooked pitchers into dominant ones. In this video, I'm breaking down exactly how the pyramid works. 5 levels that every pitcher must master if they want to throw harder, stay healthy, and get noticed. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly where your development is stuck and how to fix it. If you're new to the channel, welcome. My name is Adrian Martucci, the founder of the Underdog Velocity Program. I broke 90 miles per hour at just 5'9". I help undersized and overlooked pitchers finally hit the velocity and performance goals that they've been chasing through a proven system I call the pitcher's pyramid. If you're serious about adding velocity, staying healthy, and unlocking your full potential, there's a link in the description where you can apply to work with me directly. We'll go through your mechanics, your goals, and build a plan that's fully customized for you. All right, let's dive into why most pitchers never reach their potential and what you can do differently starting today. Let's start with a harsh truth. Most pitchers fail not because they don't work hard, but because they're working on the wrong things. Every day, I see pitchers throwing until their arm is hanging, spending hours in the weight room, and copying some viral mechanic drills they see online. And then they're wondering why their velocity hasn't gone up. Or worse, they constantly have arm pain. Here's the problem. They're chasing velocity without a foundation. They're throwing harder, but not moving better. They're training muscles, but not movements. And when they lift, they're training like bodybuilders instead of pitchers. Think about it. If your goal is to throw a baseball 90 miles per hour, that's one of the most explosive and coordinated movements in all of sports. Yet most pitchers are training like it's just about strength and effort. The reality is that velocity comes from connection, how your body moves as one piece. If one link in that chain is weak or restricted, everything above it just breaks down. That's why you see guys who are jacked, but still throwing mid-70s. And then you'll see others who look average physically, but light up the radar gun. Because it's not just about what you have, it's how well you use it. Here's what most pitchers get wrong. They skip mobility. They lift heavy, but never move fast. They ignore arm care until it's too late and they have arm pain. And then they copy big league mechanics that don't fit their body or flexibility. The result? Frustration, plateaus, soreness, and a ton of wasted effort and time. Look, hard work isn't the issue. You're already putting that in. What's missing is actual structure. You need a system that builds each layer in the right order so your power actually transfers into velocity safely. That's what the pitcher's pyramid is all about. It's a roadmap that shows you how to train like a pitcher, not just a generic athlete. Once you understand this, everything starts to make sense. So now you know why most pitchers fail. Let's look at what to do instead. Let's break down the pitcher's pyramid, the system that every serious pitcher needs to build velocity, durability, and confidence. All right, so now we've talked about why most pitchers fail. Let's break down a system that actually fixes it. This is what I call the pitcher's pyramid. It's the roadmap for building a complete pitcher, one who's strong, explosive, efficient, and durable. Every great pitcher, no matter their size or level, needs all 5 levels of the pyramid. But here's the key. The order and emphasis depend on you. That's the power of a personalized program. No two pitchers move the same way. Some need more strength, others need more mobility and arm care. When you train based on where you are in the pyramid, that's when everything starts to click. So let's walk through it. Level 1 is going to be strength. This is your foundation, the engine that powers everything else. If you're not strong enough in the right movements, you can't create force, stabilize your body, or repeat efficient mechanics. Strength doesn't just mean lifting heavy, it means building power to move explosively and control your delivery. Once you've built strength, you have to be able to move through it. Mobility allows your body to unlock power without restriction. Tight hips or limited shoulder range can shut down your velocity instantly. Mobility isn't just about being flexible, it's about being functional. Level 3 is rotational power. This is where strength and mobility come together. Here, we train your body to move fast, rotate explosively, and transfer energy from the ground up. It's the bridge between the weight room and the mound. Level 4 is arm care. This is your protection layer. It's what keeps your arm healthy and firing all season long. We focus on the small muscles, ligaments, and tendons that stabilize your shoulder and elbow, the ones that usually get ignored until there's a plan. Strong arms throw harder, but healthy arms throw longer. Level 5 is mechanics and throwing efficiency. Finally, we take everything you've built and apply it to your delivery. This is where you refine movement patterns, improve sequencing, and make sure that power actually transfers into the baseball. The goal isn't just to throw harder, it's to throw harder with less effort. Each level of the pitcher's pyramid builds on the next. But here's what makes it powerful. Every pitcher's pyramid looks a little different. For one guy, strength might be the missing piece. For another, it might be mobility or mechanics. That's why one-size-fits-all programs just don't work. When your training is built around your pyramid, meaning your strengths, your weaknesses, your goals, that's when you actually see real results. And that's exactly what I'm going to show you in the next section as we start breaking down each level. Starting with strength, the foundation that everything else depends on. All right, let's start with the base of the pitcher's pyramid, strength. If you don't have a strong foundation, nothing else you do will matter. You can have great mechanics, perfect mobility, solid arm care routines, but without strength, you can't produce or repeat power. Think about it like this. Strength is your engine. Mobility is your steering. Mechanics is how you drive. You can't win a race with a weak engine. Now, when I say strength, I don't mean bodybuilding or powerlifting. Pitching strength is all about functional power, being able to produce force and control it explosively. Most pitchers make the mistake of training for size, not speed. They chase the pump instead of performance. But throwing a baseball isn't about looking strong, it's about moving strong. The goal isn't just to lift more weight, the goal is to lift the right way, in the right patterns, so every ounce of strength you build actually can transfer to the mound. That means mastering compound movements, things like trap bar deadlifts, reverse lunges, and dumbbell presses. These train the lower body and core to generate power from the ground up. That's where velocity starts, on the ground. If your lower half isn't strong, you'll always rely too much on your arm. That's why so many pitchers end up with elbow or shoulder pain. It's not that their arm is weak, it's that their legs aren't doing their job. In the Underdog Velocity program, one of the first metrics we look at is your trap bar deadlift relative to your body weight. A good goal is at least twice your body weight for one rep. Because if you can't produce that kind of force, it's unlikely that you'll be able to generate elite level velocity on the mound. But strength isn't just about how much weight you move, it's also about how well you move it. I'd rather see a pitcher lift less weight with perfect control and intent than load up the bar with a bunch of sloppy reps. Every lift you do should build towards one thing, an explosive, repeatable delivery. We're not just trying to get stronger, we're trying to get stronger in the right direction. And that's where the difference between gym strength and pitching strength comes in. Gym strength looks impressive. Pitching strength actually performs. Here's what it looks like in practice. Your workouts focus on quality over quantity, building stability in your legs, strength through your hips and core, and balance between both sides of your body. If you can lunge, hinge, press, and rotate with power and control, you've got the base that you need to throw harder and stay healthy. That's what this level of the pyramid is all about, creating the kind of strength that supports every other part of your delivery. And once that's in place, it's time to move on to the next level, mobility, because all that strength means nothing if your body can't move through it. Now that we've built your foundation of strength, it's time for the next layer of the pitcher's pyramid, mobility. Mobility is the difference between having power and being able to use it. You can be strong as an ox, but if your body can't move through a full range of motion, you'll never be able to apply all that strength efficiently when you throw. Here's what most pitchers don't realize. Lack of mobility isn't just about stiffness, it's about wasted energy. Every inch your hips or shoulders can't move freely is power that never reaches the baseball. Think of your body like a rubber band. If you're too loose, there's no snap. But if it's too tight, you can't even stretch, and it eventually breaks. You need that perfect balance of mobility and stability. That's what allows you to load, rotate, and explode. The two biggest mobility areas for pitchers are the hips and thoracic spine. That's the middle of your back. If these two zones are tight, your body will compensate somewhere else, and it's usually your arm. And that's when you start to feel soreness or mechanical breakdowns. Here's a simple example. If you can't rotate your hips fully, your stride shortens. When your stride shortens, your trunk has to rotate faster to make up for it. When your trunk has to rotate too early, your arm gets dragged. Your velocity drops, and the stress on your arm skyrockets. Mobility fixes that chain reaction before it even starts. Now, this isn't about spending an hour stretching. It's about targeted movement prep. Drills that open up your hips, loosen your thoracic spine, and teach your body how to move like an athlete again. Some of my favorites are rolling T-spine with a dowel rod, open and close the gate, seated hip rotations, 90-90 hip flow. These drills aren't flashy, but they make a massive difference. A pitcher with great mobility can load deeper, rotate smoother, and transfer energy more efficiently. And that means free velocity. Now here's the key. Mobility isn't just something you do once. It's something you maintain. Your goal is to move better every week, not just feel loose after one session. Inside the Underdog Velocity program, mobility work is built into your training, so it complements your strength, not competes with it. We don't just stretch, you learn how to move more powerfully through ranges of motion, so your strength actually shows up on the mound. Because strength without mobility is wasted potential. But strength with mobility, that's where the velocity comes from. Now that your body can move freely and powerfully, it's time to connect those two pieces. The next level of the pitcher's pyramid is all about transferring that force explosively, rotational power. The next level of the pitcher's pyramid is all about transferring that force explosively, rotational power. Now that you've built strength and mobility, it's time to put those two together. Welcome to the third level of the pitcher's pyramid, rotational power. This is the level where we take everything you've built in the gym and teach your body how to use it fast. Because strength by itself doesn't win games. You have to be able to express that strength explosively. Think about it. Pitching is rotation. Everything from your back leg to your hip turn to your trunk separation. It's all rotational movement. So if you're strong, but your body can't rotate explosively, you're leaving miles per hour on the table with every single pitch. Here's how rotational power works. Your legs generate force. Your core transfers that force, and your arm delivers it. The transfer is called the kinetic chain. When every link fires in sequence, velocity skyrockets and effort goes down. That's what we're training here, sequencing and speed. Some of my favorite exercises for this level are med ball side throws for hip to trunk power, half kneeling shot put throws to train hip separation, rocker throws and soccer throws to sync rotation and timing, and dynamic side slams to finish with full body explosive. Every rep should feel like you're trying to throw the med ball through the wall. Intent matters way more than weight here. One common mistake pitchers make is treating rotational drills like cardio. Lightweight, fast reps, no intent. That does nothing for your velocity. You need power, not endurance. That means every throw, every slam, every rep should be done with focus and aggression. Think of it like rehearsing your delivery, but at max speed. This is also the point where you start to feel the connection between your lower half and your arm. When your hips and trunk move in sync, the ball just jumps out of your hand. That's a sign that your kinetic chain is actually working properly. And here's what makes this level so important. Rotational power bridges the gap between gym and the mound. It's where your training starts to feel like you're pitching again. You're no longer just lifting or stretching. You're translating everything into velocity. Inside the Underdog Velocity program, we build rotational power around intent, tempo, and sequencing. You'll know exactly when to train fast, when to recover, and how to measure real progress. When done right, this level unlocks your next gear, the one you didn't even know you had. Now, once you can produce that kind of explosive rotation, you need to make sure that your body, especially your arm, can handle it. That's where we move into the fourth level of the pitcher's pyramid, arm care. Now we move to one of the most overlooked but most important levels of the pitcher's pyramid, arm care. Every pitcher says that they want to throw harder. But what good is velocity if your arm can't handle it? Arm care isn't optional, it's your insurance policy. It's what keeps you healthy enough to actually use all the strength and power that you've built. Here's the reality. Your arm is the last link in the chain. It takes all the force your body creates and delivers it into the baseball. If any part of your body above or below breaks down, the arm pays the price. That's why so many pitchers feel great one week and then really sore the next. They're generating more power than their arm can safely handle. Arm care is how we fix that. Now, I'm not just talking about a few band warm-ups before you throw. I'm talking about a structured system where you strengthen the small stabilizing muscles in your shoulder, rotator cuff, forearms, and elbows every week. Because those small muscles are the difference between being strong and durable. Some examples include external rotations to stabilize the shoulder, band pull-aparts and Y raises to strengthen the upper back, rice bucket routines for the forearm and grip, and eccentric band work to build tendon strength over time. These just don't protect your arm, they enhance performance. When your arm is strong and stable, your delivery becomes smoother, you recover faster, and your velocity is way more consistent. And here's the thing, most pitchers don't do this until they're already in pain, but by then, it's usually too late. In the Underdog Velocity program, arm care isn't an afterthought, it's built into your weekly plan. You'll know exactly when to push, when to rest, and how to keep your arm feeling fresh all year long. Because at the end of the day, throwing 90 miles per hour once means nothing if you can't do it again next week. Consistency is what separates great pitchers from injured ones. Now that your arm is healthy and strong, it's time for the final level, the top of the pitcher's pyramid. It's the one that ties everything together, mechanics and throwing efficiency. Now we've arrived to the top of the pitcher's pyramid, mechanics and throwing efficiency. This is where everything that you've built, your strength, your mobility, your rotational power, and your arm care, all comes together. Because all the power in the world means nothing if your body can't deliver it efficiently to the baseball. Mechanics are the great equalizer. They're what allow undersized pitchers to compete and even dominate bigger, stronger guys. Here's the truth. Most pitchers don't need to reinvent their mechanics. They just need to remove the inefficiencies that are stealing their velocity and adding stress to their arm. It's not about copying what a pro looks like on YouTube. It's about understanding how your body moves best based on mobility, strength, and sequencing. That's why mechanical efficiency is so powerful. When you sync your lower body, your trunk, and your arm into one smooth motion, you stop fighting against your body and start working with it. And that right there is where velocity becomes effortless. In the Underdog Velocity program, this is where the personal approach is so crucial. Every athlete gets a full mechanical analysis where I break down your delivery frame by frame. We identify what's working, what's holding you back, and exactly where that energy is being lost. I'll show you the exact drills, cues, and progressions to fix those inefficiencies so your power actually transfers all the way through release. It's not guesswork, it's precision coaching. We use advanced video feedback so you can see the changes as you make them. That immediate visual feedback helps you understand what feeling right actually looks like, and that's when progress skyrockets. Most pitchers plateau because they're training without context. They're lifting, throwing, and grinding, but they don't know why they're actually stuck. Mechanical analysis gives you the roadmap to fix that. It's how you finally bridge the gap between the training room and the mound. So whether it's improving your hip load, tightening up your arm path, or cleaning up your sequencing, that final level is where it all ties together. Once you reach this point in the pitcher's pyramid, you're not just working hard, you're working right. Every rep, every throw, every drill has a purpose. That's what separates the guys who make big jumps in velocity from those who stay stuck doing the same thing year after year. Now that we've broken down all 5 levels of the pitcher's pyramid, let's put it all together and talk about how this system actually works in real life. Because here's the truth. Every pitcher you've seen add serious velocity, gain confidence, and stay healthy, they didn't do it by chance. They did it by training in the right order. The pitcher's pyramid isn't just a theory. It's the framework I've used to help pitchers of all different shapes, sizes, and backgrounds reach their goals faster and safer than they ever thought possible. Each level builds on the next. Strength gives you power, mobility unlocks that power, rotational training teaches you to move explosively, arm care keeps you healthy, and efficient mechanics allow you to deliver everything you've built into the baseball. When you understand your pyramid, you stop guessing and start progressing. Now let me give you a few quick examples. I worked with a high school pitcher who came to me stuck at 80 miles per hour, frustrated because he was lifting hard and throwing every week with no results. We discovered his base was strength. We built his deadlift and lunge strength, adding mobility around his hips, and within 3 months, he broke 86 miles per hour and earned a spot in his school's starting rotation. Or a college pitcher who'd been battling shoulder pain for 2 seasons. He didn't need more throwing, he needed stability. We rebuilt his arm care from the ground up, fixed his sequencing, and focused on trunk control. By mid-season, not only was he pain-free, but he was sitting 3 to 4 miles per hour harder than the previous year. And one of my favorites, a 13-year-old undersized kid who everyone told just wasn't built for velocity. We focused on rotational power and mechanics, teaching him to use his body efficiently instead of muscling the ball. 4 months later, he was the hardest thrower on his team. Same frame, same work ethic, but totally different results. That's what happens when you train with structure, when you know which level of the pyramid you're missing, and when you fix that one piece, the entire system levels up. And the best part, every pitcher's pyramid looks a little different. That's why personalization matters. Inside the Underdog Velocity program, that's exactly what we do. We start with a one-on-one call to analyze your mechanics, your mobility, and your goals. Then I build a fully customized plan that targets the level of the pyramid you need most. You'll know exactly what to train, how to train it, and when to progress, with real feedback every step of the way. Because the truth is, velocity isn't magic, it's just math. When all 5 levels of the pyramid align, results are inevitable. Now that you understand how it all works, let's wrap this up with one final message. Something every pitcher needs to hear before they decide what to do next. By now, you understand exactly how the pitcher's pyramid works, why so many pitchers stay stuck, and what it actually takes to unlock your velocity, stay healthy, and reach your full potential. But here's the truth. Most pitchers will watch this, nod their heads, and go right back to doing the same thing that they've always done. A year from now, they'll still be wondering why nothing has changed. And then there are a few who take action. The ones who know that they've got more in the tank, they just need the right guidance in order to get it out. That's exactly who the Underdog Velocity program is for. This program isn't for everyone. I don't accept every application that comes in because it has to be the right fit. Before I take anyone on, I need to know that I can actually help you. This program is only for serious pitchers who are willing to commit to reaching their potential. Guys who are tired of guessing, tired of plateaus, and ready to do the work. If that sounds like you, the application is in the description box below. It only takes a few minutes to fill out. And once you do it, I'll personally review it to see if we're a good fit. If we are, we'll hop on a call, talk through your goals, and build a clear plan to get you there. No gimmicks, no pressure, just honest feedback and a roadmap that works. So if you're ready to take your pitching career seriously and want to finally start seeing the results you've been chasing, go fill out the application below. And if this video helped you understand the process a little bit better, drop a like, subscribe. I'm AJ Martucci, and I help undersized pitchers go from overlooked to unstoppable.